Evening, everyone. Welcome to the season finale of the Varsity Link Coaches Corner, our weekly sojourn covering Shore Conference High School football. Kevin Williams along with Bob Batters and Ed Sarluca. We are live from Asylum Sports Center in Wall, and this is the Varsity Link Coaches Corner, and the Varsity Link has been our sponsor all season long, and we'll talk about them a little bit later on. But tonight's show is kind of our special one. I mean, I think about we started the first Wednesday of September. It was hot. We're here in the second Wednesday of December. It's getting colder. And we're wrapping up the season with our special award show, one that we really enjoy doing. Bob will be rolling out his entire All-Shore package on Saturday, but tonight we honor our Defensive Player of the Year, Offensive Player of the Year, Most Valuable Player, Coach of the Year, and Team of the Year. All of that tonight. We'll be giving out some hardware, and we hope, fingers crossed, that everyone who's receiving an award will be here tonight. There's always some conflicts when you get to this time of year, but we feel pretty good that we'll have everyone on tonight as we sort of announce these things, which indeed are near and dear to us and very, very special in a fun way to end what has been a very interesting high school football season, a season of firsts, obviously, with overall group champions. I'm going to kind of start there, guys. As Bob and Ed were at Rutgers a week ago Sunday, basically the game kicked off. I think I was probably somewhere over South Carolina as I was on my way to Key West for a vacation, and I couldn't find out anything until I landed. And as soon as I landed, I just jumped on Bob's Twitter account and I, kind of followed the whole thing. But mixed day for the Shore Conference. Rumson falls short. Toms River North closes out what was an incredible historic 14-0 season with a win. You guys spent your Sunday there. Thoughts?
First of all, it was just, the season's over now. So we've which is crazy. You're just talking about we were here, in shorts when it was, 80 degrees, back in August. But, yeah, I mean, a historic season in the sense that first time we're crowning group champions. And we fortunate enough to have two Shore Conference teams there. As you mentioned, Rumson fell to Caldwell 18-14 in the Group 2 final. Then Toms River North completing, finishing the job, as you could say, with the 28-7 win over Passaic Tech to win the inaugural Group 5 state championship. So, a team in Rumson who – we all know and respect and are not surprised was there, but a team that came from, 4-4 at the playoffs to making it all the way to the state championship game. And it took a team that it was undefeated. There's only two undefeated teams in the state, Toms River North and then Caldwell 13-0, which has the state's longest active winning streak, which I believe now is at 28 games. So, yeah, I mean, it took that kind of team to beat Rumson. A tremendous effort by them, certainly in the playoffs down the stretch. A very young team, and, again, we all know their championship pedigree, so they'll be heard from again pretty soon. And then North, they just did what they did all season. And even with Micah Ford, who we'll talk to, at some point over the next couple of years, this year and next year, because he's only a junior, and the kind of season he had was insane. But cramps really, hampered him in that second half. 28-7. That looked like it could have been a 42-0 game if all was well.
6 or 7 times. Yes. I lost count after a while in the second half that they had to help him off the field and for a couple plays, 2 or 3 plays, then right back in there. So a lot of guts shown by Ford for sure.
Yeah, and he was amazing, throwing the ball, 3 touchdown passes. Josh Moore, punched in an 80-yarder in the fourth quarter to really seal that away, and the defense is incredible. That's a very physical, downhill attacking Passaic Tech team. They're very big up front, and Toms North handled them. It was really just one play, and they kind of caught him in the defense and sprung a long touchdown run. But it was a dominant game to end one of the most dominant seasons we've ever seen in Shore Conference football history.
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked the fact that, obviously Passaic Tech went into the game like obviously most coaches would want to do, stopping Micah Ford.
Yeah.
And they did pretty much.
They slowed him down.
They slowed him down, but, it wasn't like regular where he would break off a 50 or 60-yarder, after 3 or 4 runs. They dedicated 9 guys, and some of the coaches that we'll talk to tonight, 9 guys in the box to stop him. And they did a pretty good job, and he was getting hit. Ozowitz, went to the air, smart, something he had not had to do before, especially in the first half. 3 touchdown passes, like you said, Kevin, and right on the money. That second touchdown pass, unbelievable.
On the run, throwing against, rolling to his left, throwing it back across his body. It's just, that was, and David Oswitz even said that after the game. It was almost, you get used to them winning 50-6 every week, and it becomes ho-hum, as impressive as it is. But the way they had to win, it looked like they were going to run away with it at one point, and then they did it. And they kind of had to overcome some adversity, which was a question. If they had to, could they do it? They did. They had to go toe-to-toe with a team that was willing to throw some haymakers also, and they said, okay, that's our bread and butter. You can do it. We can do it better. And they just answered the call in every way. He said Micah Ford still ran for 100 yards. It didn't seem like that, but he did.
He did.
And then, like you said, they didn't have to go really to the air much all season, but when they had to, you see what kind of production they can have. And that's without one of their best players, 3 counselors didn't play in the game. Yep. So the superlatives are never ending for that team just because of what they were able to accomplish. Historic fashion, the way they did it, it was pretty special standing on that field, talking to one of their seniors, Josh Kay. There's like nobody else left there, and you could tell, you see those guys soaking in the moment, starting to realize what they had just accomplished.
The other game, the Rumson game, I know for me personally, I walked away with huge props for Owen O'Toole, the Rumson quarterback. I thought he played tremendous football in that football game. They were giving him that 6-7 yard out, which they must have hit 15 times in the football game, But Caldwell had a game plan also. They said, hey, we're not getting beat up top, and Rumson ran the ball sufficiently. But I was impressed with O'Toole. He just couldn't get it done. I know it took a couple of special plays, and by one I mean the fake punt by Caldwell.
Fake field goal.
The fake field goal, and the kid put the ball on the money. Now, Bob, you were right on the call.
Yeah.
A few people have said that his foot might have been out of bounds.
It looked like the one foot was half out of bounds. I know, but because I was able to freeze frame it on the video I had, and it looked like his foot was half out of bounds, but don't forget, it's 1 foot in. So if that back foot dragged before the other foot came down, it's a catch. So
it was that close.
It was that close. The officials on the sideline said the booth reviewed it and it was good, whatever that means. I take their word for it. But
which of course there was no booth review.
So, but as you said, that Caldwell team reminded me of a Rumson team.
Yeah.
Really solid in all phases. Didn't really make mistakes. Ran the ball really well. Played good defense. Made plays in the passing game when they had to. But as you go back to Owen O'Toole, he's only a sophomore. He's going to be a heck of a quarterback if he keeps developing at the rate he has. And that's a young team, altogether. They lose some really, really good seniors. So those are going to be hard to overcome. But that's a program that has shown an ability to kind of restock year to year, and the expectations don't change. And after what they accomplished this season, you know that now going into next year, they're going to expect to be in position to get back and win it. But with O'Toole, as someone who's a sophomore, give a lot of credit also to their offense coordinator, John Cornelius. And this is an offense that traditionally they're going to run the ball, they're going to play tough defense, they're going to throw the ball when they have to, and they're usually good at it. But this year they really had to flip the script. Running game wasn't working as much. O'Toole threw the ball 304 times this year.
Yeah.
25 touchdowns, 7 picks against that, and you saw how much better he got as the year went on. So
very
a bright future ahead.
Let me just ask you this quickly, because we're going to have our first guest on in a minute, and that is how would you sum up this season in Shore Conference football? Was it a great season, good season? What kind of feel do you have for the season as a whole?
I thought it was a very good season. You had a team accomplish something historic. You had another team get to the championship game of a state final. Public school, Red Bank Catholic didn't win, but they got to the state championship game, came within 2 points. You had Middletown South in the sectional final. So we had, we're a 43 teams now, 42 we have
42,
of Shore Conference football playing schools. So there's going to be some ups and downs, but I think by and large, a very successful season and a lot of promise in the future. There are a lot of really good players in the Shore, as we'll talk about tonight, that will be back next year. And there's a lot of teams that we're on the cusp and could have breakout seasons next year. So it should be fun.
One of those players will be back next year, will be our first guest. Because when we come back from this quick break, we will talk with our Shore Sports Network Defensive Player of the Year. We'll do that right after this on the Varsity Link Coach's Corner. Welcome back to the Varsity Link Coach's Corner on the Shore Sports Network, shoresportsnetwork.com. We are at Asylum Sports Center in Wall tonight for our season award show. This is where we started it all with our preview show back the first Wednesday of September, and we wrap it up. Our special thanks to our host locations throughout the football season. That is the Office Lounge in Toms River and our new addition to the lineup, MJ's Sports Bar in Neptune, for allowing us to do our shows there and take care of feeding the players, and had a lot of fun at both of those places, and we really appreciate their tremendous support. Bob, Defensive Player of the Year, when you think of some of the leading candidates for this coveted award, who were they?
We had a lot of good ones, and typically it comes from the linebacker position, and that was no difference this year. Davin Bruton, the junior linebacker, Red Bank Catholic, another excellent year for a great defense. Dante Verneri from Donovan Catholic led the Shore in tackles, and that was last year after having about 5 pick sixes. So
yeah.
A great career for him there. And also Ty Kazanowski, Toms River North, a division defensive player of the year, a standout player on the number 1 scoring unit in the Shore. So there was a lot of impressive defensive players, as there is every year.
Yeah. Well, it just turns out that I saw Middletown South play 3 times this year, and I think I talked to you after every game and said, I got to tell you, you're right. This Gallagher kid is truly special. Number 9, I think. Number 9 on your program. Number 1 on the Gallagher Heart, I guess they say. Our Defensive Player of the Year is Middletown South junior linebacker Colin Gallagher. 149 tackles, including 27 for loss, 10.5 sacks. Oh, and by the way, he ran the ball a little bit on offense. 22 yards and 9 touchdowns for a very good Middletown South team, and he's good enough to join us. Colin, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Colin, congratulations.
Thank you.
Ed hands you the hardware. That comes from Tiffany's and Company. It's worth about $3,000. How do you feel about the honor? I mean, you're a junior. A lot of times these individual awards tend to go to upperclassmen, but you had an outstanding season. Tell us a little bit about what it's like to be named the Defensive Player of the Year in the Shore Conference.
It's great to have the honor to win this reward, but, we want to do better, and our goal next year is to win the state championship, and, we couldn't do it this year. So, this award's pretty great, but that's kind of what we want to do.
Speaking like a typical Middletown South player.
I was just going to say, you come from a long list of linebackers at Middletown South. You know some of those kids?
Yeah.
Name some of them.
Macaluso, I think.
There you
go.
Or something.
Went out west.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to – I'll jump in with that too, because
others.
I'll talk to your head coach, Steve Antonucci, a little bit about you for, some of the stores are right near the end of the year. And, Middletown South, you have that tradition of linebackers. Like, did you grow up in Middletown your whole life? So you've been to, Pop Warner through all that stuff. So you know the tradition. But Nick Macaluso, Sean Campbell, Dylan Rogers, defensive player for us, Defensive Player of the Year for us about 7 years ago. Michael Little, going all the way back to Coach Antonucci's first tenure. Those are some legendary names in the program, and you can win Defensive Player of the Year. You put yourself kind of in that category, knowing the history. What does that part mean to you?
It's big. It's nice seeing that as I was a kid. Those kids were role models for me, and I want to do the same for the kids growing up in the town.
I said I got to see you play 3 times. Describe yourself as a player. If somebody was Well, I'm going to do it. I'm going to come up to you and I'm going to say, hey, give me 15 seconds on you as a defensive player.
I just say I'm smart. I know my limits. I know I'm not the biggest, not the fastest, but I get what I need to do done.
How important is anticipation in the linebacker position? In other words, having an idea of where it might go, not waiting for it to go somewhere.
Yeah, I think that's a big part, and we do a lot. I watch a lot of film. Get yourself prepared. You know what the other team's going to do, and you put yourself in the best position to win.
In the defense, in a lot of defense, obviously the linebackers are important, but with what Middletown South has traditionally done, before your defense coordinator Mark Tomo, before that Al Bigos for many, many years under Coach Antonucci. I mean, the linebackers are so involved, and when you have one that is versatile, you can do a lot with them. And I know they moved you around a lot, trying to move you around as a chess piece. Just tell me about being able to have that effect where the coach is going to try to move you around and kind of free up, and you have that ability to kind of create some havoc. And you guys start coming off the edge. Obviously, you guys create a lot of pressure.
Yeah, it's good to have a group around me that I know are going to do their job and they're going to allow me to do what I need to do, and I think that's the best part.
How about your individual coach, linebacker coach?
That's Mr. Coach Roberts, and he does a great job at practice. And
that would have been bad if you lost his name,
especially because it's Roberts. We know Coach Roberts. He's a character, one of the best. Last season, you came on. I remember I covered the first game here. You guys played Manasquan. I'm like, man, who is this 28 kid back in running that? You had 4 sacks in your first game there, and you've kind of kept it going. But after that great sophomore season, what were some of the things you went into the offseason looking to improve on and come into your junior year better at?
Obviously, I got to get faster. I got to get bigger. I had to be more disciplined, and I knew I would have to play a pivotal role in the defense next year, and I just stepped up to the plate.
So when did your off-season begin? In other words, have you started prep for next year already? Are you in the weight room yet? What are you doing?
Yeah, I work out, and it started a couple of days after we lost, and I'm just trying to get better every day.
Nooch doesn't even give you a Christmas holiday off?
Nah, not yet.
You play anything in the winter?
No.
No, in the winter. I know you're a cross player, yeah. Right? So when you have the kind of season that you guys had, and that was like the first thing that came out of your mouth is, hey, we didn't accomplish what we want, and obviously we know what the goals are for this team, but you have a successful season. You make it to a state sectional championship game. You didn't win it, so I know that's a goal, but tell me about how do you approach a year where obviously you guys were a really good team, but you left some things on the table. So what's the mentality you try to, especially now, you're a senior for all intents and purposes football-wise, what do you try to do as a leader to get those guys around you ready to go?
We got a lot of guys returning from who were stars last year, and the goal is to just stay together, work out during the offseason, do things together, and we just got to build up our team bonding and stuff.
You're in a brutal division, obviously. You kind of know like every Friday night or Saturday you're going to have a game that's going to be a very, very competitive game. Do you like that? In other words, do you like knowing that each and every week on your schedule, well, here comes another one?
Yeah, I think it's a great opportunity for everyone, including us. It's not going to be easy any week, and it's a great opportunity.
There's a lot of always talk about divisions and things like that, but it seems like the players love that. Like they love that every week where you're playing the best teams. Is that the case? Do you get the sense where the whole team, like Kevin said, every week it's a massive game. You're playing a ranked team in the Shore, and some weeks a ranked team in the state. So is that something that just keeps you guys going throughout the weeks?
Yeah, it's like to know that every week it's gonna be an opponent just as good, if not better, than the week you played before, and it's better than playing a team that you don't have to prepare as much, and every day at practice you got to lock in.
All right, so at least one more for you for now, and then we'll let you bolt out of here. You win an individual award, but I'm sure you'd be the first to say, but it's a team award. I only won this because of. Tell me about some of your defensive teammates who you're really close with, who really their performance also helped you have a successful campaign.
I think our senior Jason Wagner, who started out as the linebacker next to me, but he got moved all around and ended up playing D-line. He was just a great leader on the team. He took a lot of that leadership role. And he just would do his job so I could do mine. And then we got Jake Swakiel, who's our safety, and he really called out all the shots in the secondary, telling them what to do and whatnot.
One last one for me. Really good junior class for you guys. And obviously you guys have been playing together for a long time, and everyone circles that senior year. So that's, when next time you step on a football field, that's what it'll be. just how about that class? If you guys been playing together for a long time, you mentioned Jakes Wakefield, Donovan Sumi. I mean, there's tons of you guys in that junior class who've – I remember since the time you guys came in, he was as freshmen. Some of your coaches talking about you guys. So have you guys been playing together for a while and kind of looking forward to what next year is going to be?
Yeah, I mean, I've played with all the guys throughout Pop Warner, and they're like brothers to me. So it's good going into every week that you know the guy with your heart who's next to you on the field.
Notice we didn't even ask you about offense. You like running the ball?
Yeah, I don't mind it.
I don't mind it. That's it.
I don't mind it. I saw him run up over a couple of people who minded him running the ball.
Right. 522 yards and 9 TDs.
Not bad at all.
Pretty
Colin,
good.
Congratulations really on a great season and a terrific honor, and wish you all the best next year, and stay healthy. Look forward to seeing you on the gridiron in the fall.
Thank you.
That is Colin Gallagher of Middletown South, the junior linebacker. He is our Shore Sports Network Defensive Player of the Year. More right after this on the Varsity Link Coach's Corner. All right, welcome back to the Varsity Link Coach's Corner, our award special here at Asylum Sports Center in Wall. Bob, before we announce who our Offensive Player of the Year is, give me a few of the other guys who deserve consideration for this honor.
As I said before, Defensive Player of the Year, there's never a shortage. There's really never a shortage of Offensive Player of the Year candidates. Mike Ford, Tom Zernorth obviously needs no introduction. We've talked about him all season. Connor Dietz, Brick Memorial. Came within about 150, 160 yards of being only the second player in state history to have 2,000 yards rushing and 2,000 yards passing, so he was certainly in the conversation. Kieran Falzone, Raritan senior running back, ran for over 1,600 yards, most rushing yards by a running back in the Shore this season. We talked about Owen O'Toole before, what he was able to do, and certainly have to mention Frankie Williams, the Red Bank Catholic sophomore quarterback, 20 touchdowns, only 2 picks, threw for over 1,600 yards. Really, a lot of really good offensive players in the Shore, as always.
And almost a young man who at this point needs no introduction, but I'll just throw the numbers out because they're legendary.
Yeah.
Ran for 2,360 yards on 236 carries. I figured that out. That's 10 yards a carry.
That's easy math.
That's easy math.
Change.
Also ran for 33 touchdowns. But not to be forgotten is his passing ability. 57 of 89, very high completion percentage. 1,203 yards passing, 17 touchdowns. There were those 2 interceptions, but we'll kind of forget about that. So he accounted for 50 touchdowns.
And that's only on offense.
That's only on offense. A heck of a defensive back, and I think he scored a defensive touchdown.
One defensive touchdown, yeah.
So, but he is our Offensive Player of the Year. He's the junior from Toms River High School North, Micah Ford, who we get to talk to one more time. Congratulations, young man.
Thank you, sir. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, what a great year you had. These guys were talking about the state final and the cramping up. It was it made it a rough day for you, huh?
He should be drinking this water, not me.
Yeah, just next year is just a matter of preparing better for that game. But I was pretty hydrated. Maybe there's something I have to get checked out in off-season mode. Just take care of that.
Like I said, that was the only thing stopping Micah Ford this season was some cramps. But I feel like I've talked to you like every week probably for the past month. So I've kind of asked you every question under the sun. But one I haven't got a chance to ask you now is, a couple weeks after, winning the state championship, has it sunk in yet? The kind of what you guys as a team were able to accomplish, and obviously certainly what you were able to do as an individual.
Yeah, it's kind of still sinking in. I know I think about every day just how like amazing of a season me and my team had. It's just an honor to just make history in short conference and just do the things we did just from our hard work we put in the off season and during the season.
You know, Mike, it's pretty hard to stay humble when you basically have swept almost every major award in the state in the last couple of weeks once the season ended. I mean, how do you do that?
That's just a matter of just believing in God and know I can achieve higher than what I've done. This is nothing. I just want to get back and continue the hard work that I have put in and just to be better.
And you go right to the hardwood, right?
Yeah.
Playing a little basketball.
Yeah, but the training for football and lifting weights never stop.
Never stop.
I know you got something. I want to jump in real quick because we rattled off your stats and they're incredible. One of the things that impressed me most about you was that you played defense full time. You barely came off the field, and even if you did, you weren't happy about it. I know that. And now you're banged up a little bit, as everyone is at the end of football season, and you're going right into basketball. Like, how do you do that? How do you keep your body in that place where you can take that kind of punishment? You can have 236 carries, and you're ready to go basketball. A couple weeks later.
That just putting my body through severe pain just in training and working hard on and off the field and just preparing my body for. I know what the coaches expect of me, so I try to work hard to achieve higher than what they expect.
Yeah, I remember asking you at one point, I think it was after the Marlboro game, about getting caught from behind, and you jokingly said, "I don't get caught from behind." Did you ever get caught from behind this year?
Nah, I never got caught from behind this year. Yeah.
If you see the one on the back of the jersey, that's it.
Oh, yeah. Man, that is the only place you see it. The only place. Bob asked you, you have a lot of juniors on your team. Same thing with Middletown South. But there's no guarantee that what happened this year happens next year. People assume things. Oh, they got everyone bad. Be back here again. Are you able to enjoy this and realize how great of an achievement it is? He mentioned only 2 undefeated teams in the state. You're one of them. The top public school in the state. I mean, the first ever Group 5. I mean, it's an unbelievable amount of things that your team accomplished. Can you appreciate all of it?
Yeah, you don't want to sit on it for too long because then it may get overwhelming and may get your head too big. So you got to take a little time to enjoy it, but then now it's just lock in and know that anything can happen next year and just take each day one day at a time.
I know one thing they appreciate. Where did you come from right before you came here?
I came from basketball practice.
No. Didn't you get fitted today?
Oh, yeah, we got our rings fitted. Yeah, we got our rings fitted.
I love it. I can't
got the rings fitted.
Pretty special. Mike, last season as a sophomore, first of all, you played as a freshman. You were starting. You played tailback when Jake Kazanowski, your teammate Ty's brother, was the quarterback. Took over last season, running the power spread and really, excellent as a runner, working on it as a quarterback. Certainly got better throughout the season. Just from talking to your head coach, Coach Ozerwitz, the improvement that you made throwing the ball coming into the beginning of the season was so noticeable. Tell me about that process, working on that in the offseason, just getting better as a thrower because – like we talked about before, you didn't have to do it a lot, but when you did, you were extremely efficient at it.
That's just my quarterback coach, Anthony Penna. He actually played for North, and they ended up winning the state championship. I think that was 2007,
was it
6
7?
Maybe. I don't remember, but
8 in one of those years.
He saw the tweaks I needed to make in my arms and my hips to get the ball where they needed to be at each time, and just worked on it heavily, and just want to thank him.
Yeah, it worked.
As much as you were a marked man as this season went on, I would imagine next year you'll even have a bigger target on your back.
I don't really want to think like that. I just want to take one day at a time and get better every day.
This is also the time, and correct me, next week is I think the early signing period for senior so. The recruiting process, how has it been for you where you're at with that at this point?
It's been good. I picked up offers the off season, but there's more ahead of me, and I believe I could be better than what I've achieved now.
In terms of the next level, have you gotten any kind of indication what teams you're recruiting as, running back, defense, even quarterback? Even regardless of that, what do you think at the next level you are?
I'm being recruited as an athlete right now.
Okay.
So, but anywhere they put me, I'm gonna play.
I mean, you could put him in a lot of places.
You'd
He'd
like
be
to be
pretty darn good.
you'd like to be a quarterback, though, right?
I don't.
Oh,
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
It doesn't matter.
Just don't put him a left tackle
wherever they
or anything
put
like
me.
that, and he's all good, right?
Yeah.
Speaking of that, and we asked Colin about that. It's a team game, football, more than any. And one guy, as great as he is, cannot do it all by himself. You add in a special team. There's so much talent, but on the offensive side, just tell us about the offensive line. I think a lot of people know about how powerful they were and open up running lanes, but excellent guys on the outside, and even so many really good guys that are unheralded. Cameron Thomas as a sophomore, even Josh Moore to an extent in the own backfield with you. So just tell us about those guys around you that helped make this a special season.
Some of those guys I've been with since like AYF, like Josh Moore was on my first AYF team I ever joined, and Ty Kausnowski, he's here. He's just amazing. He threw me my first touchdown, actually.
He threw you first touchdown.
Yeah, he threw me my first
Which
touchdown.
is poetic because you threw him his last touchdown too. I like that.
Yeah, but that's just staying together all through our lives and just knowing the person next to you is going to go for bat for you no matter what.
Well, you guys answered all the questions. You heard it during the course of the season. Their schedule's not that tough. And you went in the playoffs and you just kind of steamrolled through everyone. But you had yourself a remarkable season. I call it one for the ages. It's numbers that just are epic. And we wish you nothing but the best. Congratulations on what you've done this year. Stay healthy. We're looking forward to seeing number one again on the field next year.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
That is Micah Ford from Toms River High School North, our Offensive Player of the Year.
Thank you.
When we come back from this quick break, our most valuable player. We'll explain that award. People get very confused by it. We'll do that right after this on the Varsity Link Coach's Corner. And welcome back to the Varsity Link Coaches Corner here on the Shore Sports Network, our awards final at Salem Sports Center in Wall, and we thank them, of course, for hosting us tonight. We'll chat a little bit about Varsity Link later in this hour. Bob, I'm trying to remember the first year we created this award.
Oh, I remember.
You do?
Oh, yeah.
What, about 5 or 6 years ago?
It was, yes, around that.
Okay.
It gets marked as the Ashante Worthy year for me.
Yeah,
that's how I know it. I don't remember what year it was at this point, but
he was the first to pick it up.
Well, here's the deal. Everyone has a different definition of what is the most valuable player. My goodness, they argue this in baseball every year. To me, and I think my two colleagues agree with me, one of the things we think about was where would that team be without him? And this team, I think, would have been in a lot of trouble. He was to me, he defines what a most valuable player is all about. He led Ocean to an 8-0 start in the Freedom Division title before an injury sidelined him and was knocked out, couldn't play in the opening round of the playoffs, which Ocean lost. Ran for 1,031 yards and 15 touchdowns, averaged over 10 yards a carry. Passed for 1,257 yards and 13 touchdowns, just one interception. And by the way, could also play a little defensive back as well.
He did. They didn't really need him to this year, but he has. He's played a lot of places.
Shore Sports Network most valuable player for the 2022 season is Ocean senior Tyler Douglas, and he's good enough. Yeah, he deserves that. He's got his is that a Champions jacket on?
No, we don't have those in yet, so this is just the one we got at the beginning of the season.
Oh, nice. Okay, well, thanks for joining us, and congratulations. It was such a great season for you. We had on during one of the shows during the season. I got to see you play the following week against Toms River South. You had yourself a remarkable season, and unfortunately, the end just didn't match the beginning, I guess you could put it that way. Tell us a little bit about the injury and how you feel now.
So, the injury, it happened during the last regular season of the season, and it wasn't anything too major. It was just something not worth, playing through. So I'm feeling great now. I'm ready to, get off to the next level and get going for sure.
Had to be heartbreaking, though, not to be able to comfortably, healthy play in the playoffs.
Yeah, for sure. It was heartbreaking. I grew up playing with these guys, and having them go out there to battle for me, it was great, and they gave it their all, but it was heartbreaking. That's how it had to end.
Before I get into my question, I do want to mention we ran through Tyler's stats. We did the same thing at Micah.
Yep.
Has to be said, a lot of these games, these guys didn't even play in the second half. So take those numbers and understand they were playing only a half of football in a lot of those games. But, Tyler, you started as a freshman. They kind of put you wherever they needed you. You were punting.
Yep.
You played in the secondary. And then you took over at quarterback, and you've just gotten better and better every season to the point where, you're going to be an FBS quarterback, once you make your way over to Temple. And now you're the MVP of the Shore Conference. So tell me about that journey, and especially as a quarterback. You don't get recruited to play at the FBS level if you don't have those traits to win in the pocket and do those things you need to do. And again, you've come a long way since that freshman year. So just tell us about that journey.
Well, it's like you said, I've came a long way. If you told me, my younger self I was going to be a quarterback, I would have told you were crazy. I grew up playing running back all my OIF years, and, finally 7th or 8th grade I got switched over to quarterback because they just throw the most athletic kid there and let him hand off the ball and run all over the place. So once you get to high school, it's obviously a lot different, more so reading defenses and seeing blitz packages, all that kind of stuff. But then my freshman year, we already had a great quarterback in Robbie Nungesser, so he was running the offense as a senior. So just did whatever it was to help the team win, and I played some defense. But sophomore year, I knew it was time to step up and take that role. So I took the role, and going forward, shout out to Coach Rassiopi. He got me right. He through sophomore to senior year, there was a progressive, incline of skill for sure.
Yeah, Tony Rassiopi is, Shore Conference legend,
quarterback guru,
quarterback regional,
guru,
quarterback, exactly, quarterback guru, coaching many greats from New Jersey. Now going on to bigger and better things. So
the number that stands out to me is the 1 pick. I mean, you protect the football, and I know the coach likes that one. But tell us about that, protecting the football.
Protecting football is one of the biggest parts of the game. Obviously, you don't want to sustain a 10, 11 play drive just to lose it on the 1 yard line. You got to punch it in every time. So protecting the football is always the number one goal. And that 1 pick, it was a little bit of a fluke play that I changed myself. So I got to hear that one from Coach Klein on the sideline. And I think ultimately that's why there was none going forward. I just trusted the offense, trusted Coach Reed, trusted Coach Klein, and went forward with the offense that way and made the right reads. And ultimately they were always there.
You're a very dynamic player, certainly, and the numbers speak for that, your ability to be a dual-threat kind of quarterback. But you still have to win from the pocket, and that's got to be your number one priority. And how did you come to the point where you got really good at that? Like you said, obviously, you stay in the pocket, you're efficient, you're not making mistakes, and the athleticism takes over when you're running the ball. But specifically, standing back there and doing what you need to do from the pocket.
It's like I said before, Coach Rassiopi, I worked with him numerous times in the offseason. I was with him sometimes twice a week, leaving school before the end of the day just to get there on time because obviously he trains up north. He got me right with a lot of my drop work and, just timing, anticipation throws because that's what it all is from the pocket. It's not improvising. It's, it's a set script and you're supposed to, 3-step reset and you're here on time. So, working with Coach Rassiopi, he really hones in on all that and he got me right.
You had another kid next to you working out, I understand. Another XX Ocean quarterback.
Yeah.
Who was that?
Are we talking Kenny?
That's who we're talking about.
That's what I figured.
Never heard of him.
Never heard of him. Nah, I've definitely heard of him. I've gotten trained with Kenny a good amount over this past, season, whatever you want to call it. Him getting ready for the draft and then obviously being drafted to the Steelers. He's awesome. He doesn't take BS, obviously, so if I'm training with him and I'm going a little, off pace, he's going to let me know. But he's always giving me little pointers here and there of what I can work on.
Of course, we're talking about Kenny Pickett.
Yes.
Who now plays for Pitt. Hope he's okay. I got him as a fantasy quarterback. Has he got any inside dope?
I do not. Can't be putting that out there for sure.
Yeah, good. That's a good answer. Go ahead, Bob. We talked to Colin Gower before about the Middletown South tradition of linebackers, and you guys have you're starting to have that tradition of quarterbacks at Ocean. You're talking to Coach Klein, all the way back to Keith McPherson, who's now on WFAN, talking Yankees all the time. And to Robbie.
You had to throw the Yankees in there?
Yes.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, all right.
Well, Mets talk is later, but and then obviously with Kenny, and then Robbie comes in. Ended up going to Franklin Pierce, or Franklin Marshall. I'm thinking
Franklin Pierce.
Franklin Pierce. It is.
You were right the first time. Yep.
And then now yourself. So just how about that? I mean, you guys have kind of developed that. And also, I want to throw in there, when you were a freshman, right? Trevor Pena was a senior, and Trevor's now at Syracuse. So you've been around the success at the quarterback position, and then also another FBS recruit. So has that helped you kind of mature and maybe understand that process?
For sure. I definitely say it's an honor, capping that QB room at Ocean. It's becoming a thing. Everyone's saying Ocean's over QBs, this and that. But, definitely learning from Robbie. He had the offense down like no other. So, I had any questions to him I could ask. He knew like the back of his hand. And then, like you said, Trevor, it was also awesome to see the way he just led by example so much. He wasn't really a talkative kid, but he was always just doing the right thing on and off the field.
So when we had you on during the season up at MJ's, I tried to get a little information out of you. We knew you had verbaled to Temple University, and I kind of asked, how are you? Is that your plan? You said, yeah, right now that's the plan. I believe, is it Tuesday next week?
Signing day, the 21st, I want to
say. That's Wednesday. Okay, so next week is the early signing period for players like yourself to sign their letter of intent for college. Are you going to sign next week?
Yes, sir. That is the plan, to sign next week.
And you are going to sign with?
Temple University.
All right. So you're going to follow through on your verbal commitment.
Yep.
Your conversations with those coaches during the course of the year, you feel good about this?
I feel great. All the guys over there, they're building a great culture. And I was just with them about an hour ago. They were here for the home visit. So ironically enough, they're all awesome dudes. I get along with the offense coordinator. I could see myself working with them all the time. And head coach is Coach Drain's bringing a new kind of wave into Temple, bringing that Temple tough mentality back. So I want to be a part of it for sure.
And now, are you thinking about enrolling early? Like, I know Kenny did that, and I know talking to Coach Klein, like that was something and it's not just him. There's been a bunch of players that do that, but kind of getting ahead of the game with the spring ball seems to be an intriguing prospect to a lot of players. Yeah,
that's the plan right now, to enroll early and get there early. Get into class, get a feel for campus, and ultimately get a feel for how they run football program there, when I'm lifting, when I'm doing this, when I'm doing that.
Just one more follow-up. That's got to be exciting. At the same time, it's such a big change. I mean, like, it's it. You're going to leave high school in, a couple weeks now? So, like, what is that like? Not just the football part of it, but this kind of – it's a chapter of your life that you're closing and open up another one soon.
Yeah, I've definitely put some more thought into that in the recent couple weeks, At first, oh, get me out of here. I want to go to college, this, that, whatever. Now it's, coming up on me quickly. I'm like, wow, it's really here. So it's definitely a new step in the life going forward. But I get to come back for graduation and all that, and I'll get to walk in graduation with my peers in high school, so that'll be awesome. I'm not really too worried about it.
You get to go to the senior prom?
I do. I have to be a guest, though, so we'll see if I'm
yes,
asked or not.
Wow. From MVP to persona non grata. That quick.
Well, listen, you had just a tremendous season, a tremendous career. Temple's getting an outstanding young man, and we know you'll handle your stuff there and continue to have success. Congratulations on being the Shore Conference MVP, and nothing but the best for you.
Thank you guys for having me. It's an honor for sure.
There he is, Tyler Douglas, our Shore Conference most valuable player.
Thank you.
We come back with our Coach of the Year right after this on the Varsity Link Coaches Corner on the Shore Sports Network. And we're back here on the awards finale of the Varsity Link Coaches Corner on the Shore Sports Network. By the way, Varsity Link, you should know by now. I mean, we talk it about all the time. It's a social media platform for students and athletes. As they say on their thing, bridge the gap between professional and social network for athletes and fans alike. You can post highlights on there. You can report your stats, your entire profile. So just download the Varsity Link app where you would normally in the App Store or Google Play, and make sure you get on there. Regardless, it's not a football app. It's for any sport you might play. So jump on that today. They've been great supporters of ours, and we can't thank them enough. So that guy on your camera right now was just with us a couple of weeks ago. He wasn't thrilled about being there. He's had these bad feelings about us, but now he's been cleansed. He is our coach of the year. You know, we have talked about this epic Toms River North season. And, you know, Dave Ozowitz in his 10 seasons at North has had some highs and he's had some lows. People forget he's had some tough seasons in there, but this one was all the one where all the zeros were on the right column. The left column just had 14. And we are delighted and proud to announce Dave Ozowitz is our Shore Sports Network Coach of the Year. Congratulations, Coach.
Thank you, guys. It's a tremendous honor. It's always fun being here with you guys. And, yeah, this is a special moment, I think, for our town and certainly all our program.
You really couldn't close the door on the season until you played the game a couple of weeks ago. You know, we're talking speculation. And listen, you hear it, you know, where this team belongs in history and all that. And I think we all agreed, and you were the first one. It means nothing if we don't beat Passaic Tech. But now that you've done it, that you can kind of sit back a little bit, how do you sum up what this year was?
Well, historically, it was tough for us to kind of grasp what was going on while we were in it, you know, because like you said, we had to close the deal. You know, usually when you won a sectional title, you're a state champ. You're not a state champion anymore. You know, you're a sectional champion. So you had that 2-week gap, and you started to feel a little bit of a burden. You know, the media starts coming around, you know, you guys, and, you know, hounding, wanting to know, you know, the significance of it. But until you finish it off and then have time to reflect upon it, you know, you really don't know. But I think for all of us as a program, the town, you know, how they've really rallied. I mean, everybody, it didn't really matter if you were a North alumni or South or East. Everyone's coming out of woodwork, you know, because, you know, to celebrate the team that they are and what they accomplished. And, yeah, it's starting to kind of set in a little bit, you know, and understand, you know, the historical significance of it. But, yeah, just a tremendous ride.
I mean, there's not too many people I've talked to more in the last month than you, and you and Micah and your teammates. So I've kind of asked you everything that's possible to ask, but you mentioned the historical significance, and everyone wants to ask about that. And, look, that's for history to decide, and everyone's got their opinions. But just in terms of, like, having some time to reflect on, I know even a couple days ago, like, it's still starting to set in, but now that you've had some time just to appreciate all of that from – you know, that first game in Washington Township where you're like, we haven't even practiced special teams yet to the end of the year, and you guys are standing there, the last team on the, you know, on the field, 14-0.
Yeah, it's humbling. You know, listen, we weren't, and I think our kids would say, and our coaching staff certainly, we weren't a championship team the first few weeks. We're vulnerable, you know, and so you go through that journey and your team keeps evolving and developing, and they kept working at it. And, you know, we survived, you know, the first week, and then the second week we got a little better. And, this team, more than any team that we've ever coached, it was talented, very, very talented. But it was the way they worked during the week to get better, you know, and they took constructive criticism very, very well. I'm brutally honest. Most coaches are. I'm ruthless in that film room. Those guys will say it. They cringe when they go in there when they haven't done what they're supposed to do. And, you know, our staff would find, you know, the errors. And, you know, as good as we were making errors. We weren't playing error-free ball. That's how talented we really were. But our boys practiced really, really hard, really efficiently, and wanted to get better. And they really just devoured anything we gave them. And they loved to play Friday night and Saturdays. I mean, it was a celebration of what – there really wasn't a doubt. I've never coached a team, maybe the 07 team as the defense coordinator, where that was a really, really good football team that really you'd go in as a staff and be like, this team's in trouble. As the season went on, we kind of felt like that. And it really didn't matter who was standing on the other side. And you couldn't say that and think that outward, you know, out loud. But at this time, now reflecting on, there was really never a doubt that we were going to win each week. It was just a matter of what the score was going to be, because that's how good our kids were during a week leading up to it. That's basically the way I feel about it looking back now.
So let's go back to the championship game real quick. They obviously loaded the box on you.
Yeah.
Their game plan was to stop Micah for sure.
Right.
And they did a fairly good job of that in the first half, but you pulled the passing attack out a little earlier than you're used to. Tell us about that quick change there and who noticed it and who recognized it.
Well, we went into the game. When we scouted Passaic Tech, we had seen them play West Orange. The brand of football they play up there is phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
There's Division I athletes all over the league that they play in, up and down their schedule. Union City. I mean, there's Clifton. So they weren't going to be intimidated by the collection of talent that we had. It wasn't going to be anything different than they had seen. It was going to be the way we played together that was going to be different for them. And so we also knew going in that, yeah, of course, and they were great against the run all year. I mean, they had stopped teams cold. We knew we were going to be able to run it, but we knew it was going to be tougher sledding. So we went in as a staff knowing we were going to have to be a little more balanced than we had been on our schedule and maybe down in South Jersey in the semifinal as well against Edison. So that was part of the plan. We still ran the ball pretty good on them. We just weren't running at 10, 11 yards a clip.
Yeah.
It was more 4, 5, 6.
Like a normal amount.
Yeah, and we'll take it. But yeah, we went in thinking, yeah, we got to mix the pass in a little bit. And there were some things that we were keeping in our back pocket. Probably starting with Kingsway in the sectional final that we had in our back pocket for them that we did not need. That we didn't need against Edison, that we pulled out. The screen to Kazanowski was one of them. The play action pass where the ball slipped out of his hand because he was cramping. That was another one as well. That would have been a touchdown if he wasn't cramping. So, yeah, there were things that we knew going in that we were going to have to do to them in order to beat them.
Dave, let me ask you this. I'm looking at it. Donnie Klein, the Ocean coach, is here. He was here, of course, with Tyler, who had a great season. I mean, a tremendous season. He would probably say the same thing, so I'm going to throw this on you. When you get an award as Coach of the Year, it's the old line, right? The head coach gets the credit when things are good, gets the blame when things are bad. But this is a staff award. This is for you and all those other guys who toil the long, long hours starting in the summer. So talk a little bit about your staff.
Yeah, our staff is tremendous. But it's a staff, player, program, parents, everybody, because it does take a village to have the kind of season and really just to run a football program. But yeah, we have a tremendous football staff, and this is probably I didn't work nearly as hard this year with this group, with this staff. This is the finest staff we've ever had. We've been very fortunate. We don't have a whole lot of turnover, but we did add a few volunteer coaches, and the guys just really, really settled into the role. Absolutely no ego. It was all about the guys that they were coaching, and we have a lot of North graduates too, and I think that matters. They've paid into the program. They played there. They've won there. A lot of them played for us, on the staff, whether I was the head coach or an assistant. So there's a lot of pride in what we do as a staff and as a program, and they want the boys at North to succeed, and you could see it, and yeah, I can't thank them enough. From the top to the bottom, Mike Oswitz, the offensive coordinator, Joe Oswitz, defense coordinator, Billy Dowd, offensive line coach, Anthony Penna, quarterback coach, Nick Zaza, running back coach, Greg Elias, volunteer offensive assistant, Gabe Runin, special teams coordinator, inside linebacker coach, outside linebacker coach, Charlie Henry, who's one of those volunteers that was an all-shore, all-state player for Toms River North in the early 2000s, came back, coached fullbacks, inside linebackers for us. Really, really just a tremendous group of men, and yeah, I can't thank them enough.
I want to go back to the state final again because you guys are beating teams like 50-7 every week, and it, as impressive as it is, like it becomes old hat in a weird way. People might see how 28-7 the final, like, oh, it didn't blow them out and this and that. I remember talking to you after the game, and you were almost more impressed of the way you guys won it because you had to face some adversity that you didn't all season. You had, like Micah had the cramps. There were some things to battle through. It was a great opponent. It was ranked number 10 in the state. And you got to show some things that you didn't really have to show all year, but you knew that were there, like your defense. It's the number one scoring defense on the shore. It didn't get talked about much because your offense is putting up 5,000 yards of offense. And then just those little things to win a game like that. So, again, like Micah having to throw the ball, 3 touchdowns. So just how about that winning where it's you kind of got to see the whole toolbox that you guys could offer?
Yeah, the complementary football that we know that we play every game, but you don't necessarily see it when the games are getting out of hand there. I think the way it went down was more satisfactory to me. I think maybe some of the players or some of the other staff members would have liked it a little bit. Could have celebrated a little earlier. And Passaic Tech is I can't really emphasize that enough. Passaic Tech is a really, really good football team. They were by far the best team that we played all year, and I think we jumped out 21-0 on them so quick. I mean, they hadn't given up 14 points all year. So to score, if you would have told me before the game that we scored 28, I would be like, we're going to win because, they don't give up that. I really didn't know how many points we could score against them. See, because as good as offense, your defense wins championships. So when you got a great defense, no matter how good your offense is, if you could slow the run down and they can run the football on you, which they were doing all year, we thought it would be a rock fight. And really going into any of these games, when you go into them, especially like Kingsway was another one, you don't think the game's going to get out of hand like that. But I think we've set such a bar so high offensively in the way we were kind of dismantling good football teams, because Edison was a really good football team too, that I think that was the expectation. But 28-7, I'll take it.
When we come back, we're going to take one more quick break. The drama, the tremendous cutting-edge drama of announcing our Team of the Year presented by Jersey Mike's. We'll do that right after this. Congratulations to Dave Ozowitz, our Coach of the Year. Well deserved.
Thank you so much, guys. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas to you guys.
And we'll be right back after this one more time on the Varsity Link Coaches Corner on the Shore Sports Network. And we are back. Coach Oz takes a seat. We've always done a Team of the Year, but we used to we gave them a trophy and that was the end of it. But what happened was during the pandemic, when we had that shortened season, there was no championship anyone played for. There was the unofficial championship. So we said, why don't we come up with this idea? We'll make a trophy. We'll give it to our number one team, and they get to keep it for the year. Yeah. And if they're lucky, they get to keep it for 2 years. Yeah. And, of course, the first year we did it was when Wall went undefeated and beat Donovan Catholic in that memorable unofficial Shore Conference championship game. Yeah. But there was a little drama with this award all year long because Bob had Red Bank Catholic ranked number one in his preseason top 10, and they stayed there every week. And as we started getting a little nervous, we did agree this thing will play itself out. It always seems to do that.
And it also, we were like, this thing is going to come down to probably the last week of the season.
Then there was no doubt. And, RBC lost in their final, and then Toms River North, as you said, closed the deal. So our Shore Sports Network Team of the Year, of course, the Mariners of Toms River High School North, represented here by Ty Kozanowski and Josh Kay, a couple of their outstanding seniors. And, fellas, you got to find a place for that in the school trophy case.
I'm assuming it's going to go in our athletic office. There's quite an array of trophies in there. We've been getting in there a lot to talk to some coaches, and it's amazing the amount of trophies on the shelves in there. It's almost like overflowed.
Well, you can add another one there.
Just don't throw that football around. That's on there.
That stays on there. Just like I asked Oz, and I asked you guys even that night, and you've had some time, but to kind of take in everything you guys accomplished. I mean, you guys are the last team to play in New Jersey, standing on that field after a championship. I know you guys trying to soak it in, especially as seniors. So how about now, being able to reflect on what this 2022 season was for the Mariners?
I mean, it's hard to put into words. Obviously, it was a great season, but it meant so much more because how much work we put in, how close we were with each other. Like, being with each other for that long, it was like 15 weeks with a bye week. You become brothers with everyone on the team. So to be able to close the deal and win it with, like, all of my best friends, it was a great feeling.
And, Josh, that's literally, like, the dream scenario as a high school player. You're like, my senior year, I want to go undefeated and win a state championship. Like, it's almost cliche. And you guys did that. So, again, same thing as I asked Ty, just reflecting on really a season that you can – it kind of is in your dreams when you're a kid growing up, and you guys lived it as reality.
Yeah, like you said, like, you dream of this as a little kid, playing LAF with all your buddies, you dream of being, undefeated state champs as a senior. And to really do that and finish off like that, you couldn't ask for a better way to go out, and doing it with all my brothers and great coaching staff, great fans, couldn't ask for anything more.
Josh, I remember asking you right before the game when you were on our show, what would be more emotional, your last practice at Toms River North or this last game? You kind of felt the practice because it's your home school, it's where you've been. But I want you to both, as seniors, tell me what it was like in the post-game at Rutgers when the trophy's presented and now people are starting to leave and it's kind of just you guys. Did a feeling really set in like, oh, my goodness, we did this thing?
Yeah, it was, like, very surreal because, like, like I said before, like, you dream of stuff like this. And, to end at Rutgers, state champs, with all your best friends, your friends, your family watching, it's like a movie almost. Like, you would never think this would happen until it really does. And, it's just a surreal feeling. It's hard to put into words.
Coach Oz mentioned the way this team prepared and the way you really attacked practice, loved the practice, he said, to where point you got to the games, and he said it was like a celebration. Tell me about that, the way you guys prepared and watched film, and, like, it just seemed like everyone was so into it and so locked in and on the same page. And, like you could have all the talent in the world, but it takes more than that to win a championship, and obviously you guys had that.
Well, we knew that we had a very talented team, and we knew that every game was possible to win if we played our best game. So every week in practice, we just focused on getting our game plan down and doing exactly what we needed to do, being where we needed to be. And if we prepared enough, then we would we would be successful in a lot of our games. So it was just like trying to be the best team that we can be every week, not really worrying about the opponent.
It's cliche, but that's what works.
Yeah. Ty, obviously, in the argument with your brother, you can certainly, you never won one of these, Jake. I'm getting a ring. He's got
one of those. He's got one of the offensive player.
Yes, he does. Yes,
he doesn't. He doesn't have the big fat ring you guys got fitted for.
But the ring is going to be special, right?
Yeah, no, I'm gonna rub it in his face a little bit, but
as a brother should, a younger brother too, especially.
Well, you guys absolutely just killed it this year, and for to be seniors, you heard I'm sure you heard some of the people during the season. Well, you know what? They got everyone back next year. You guys are not back next year. You move on to your post-high school life. So this is, I think, Josh summed it up. It's kind of like a movie. It just doesn't get much better than that. And you guys should enjoy all the accolades. It was a great, great season. And you did finish the job.
Yeah, very happy. Very happy. I appreciate you guys having me on and presenting us with this award.
Yeah, this is awesome. I'll tell you what, I have a lot of fun covering this sport, obviously, but, you guys are so much fun to cover, not just because of what you guys are doing on the field, but, great young men, enjoyable to talk to. Again, a lot of excitement watching your guys' game, but, you guys represented your town, your program, everything, in such an exceptional way. Sad to see you guys go because it's been fun for me. I can tell you that for sure.
Yeah, it's been a great ride.
Yeah, it sure has been a great ride. Guys, congratulations on everything. As we get ready to wrap up, I know Steve will take a picture with all the the other players here and Coach Oz. with that, I just want to do a little business here as we wrap up, right?
You do.
You know, got to thank Varsity Link. They were phenomenal to support this endeavor all season long. Again, check out the Varsity Link app if you're an athlete of any kind. Something you want to have on your phone, just download it at the App Store or Google Play. Our thanks to both the Office Lounge in Toms River and MJ's in Neptune for hosting us on a regular basis during the course of the season. Of course, Tom Tremblay, who somehow with all these wires makes everything work.
Master.
He is the master. He is the master. Steve Meyer, of course, who's, as we say, is our MacGyver, who does a phenomenal job. And to my partners in crime, the coach, Ed Sarlucas, sitting out in the audience right now. And Bob Batters.
One final union break for the season.
Bob Batters, who automatically, without a segue, goes from football to wrestling.
It literally starts tomorrow.
Starts tomorrow night.
I'll be somewhere tomorrow. Where yet? I haven't even figured that out.
How's that off season going for you, Bob?
Yeah, I don't know.
But Saturday we'll have our complete all-shore package on shoresportsnetwork.com. Hopefully you'll check it out. We've had a blast this season, and hope you enjoyed watching this. And congratulations to our award winners, Colin Gallagher, Micah Ford, Tyler Douglas, Dave Oslowitz, and, of course, the Toms River North team, an epic team if ever there was one. For everyone, thanks for watching. I hope you all have a very Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Hanukkah, and we hope to see you next year if we're doing this thing again right here on the Varsity Link Coaches Corner on the Shore Sports Network.